I'm David Gordon. My association with the festival has been a long one. I started here in 1983 as a soloist in a great performance by Bach of something called the St. John Passion. There's a role in there for the tenor called the evangelist, and he is really the narrator. He's on his feet for about 2/3 of the concert, singing some of the most awfully difficult music any human being ever wrote. Bach is very hard on tenors, and I'm a tenor. I remember that first performance in the old Sunset Center, which was still the school auditorium. And I remember coming here and being aware that I was part of a long tradition, but of something that was very much alive, and yet there was a whole lot of depth to it. It was the first time in my concert career that I had stepped into a concert where I felt that there was more background than just the recent history of that particular performing organization or whatever. There was something. I was here in 1981 or 83, and everything that I was doing stretched back through the years, and there were people here who had been there all along. I know people now who have attended more than 50 Carmel Bach festivals. So that first sense of heritage was very important to me. I've also seen in our performances here, because of the care we put into preparing the audience and giving them seminars and lectures and other kinds of entertainment, I've seen a depth of reception in our audiences that I don't see elsewhere. I've sung all over the world, and I don't see that in other places, the same kind of reaction that we get here. There have been memorable experiences, both good and bad, in the old Sunset Center, which is no longer here but is a part of the history of the arts in Carmel. The Sunset Center Auditorium, which began its life as a school and then became a center for the performing arts, had probably the worst acoustic of any room I have ever sung in my life. So much so that in an opera we were doing in 1992, I was on stage quite a bit, and I was having the feeling that I was losing my voice because I could not hear myself on stage. And so during a break in the action, when I could go off stage for a moment, I ran back into the men's room, which was immediately behind the wings, because I knew that it was the only decent acoustic in the whole building. And it became known in later years as Gordon Hall, and then we renamed it Becker Hall in honor of our house manager, Michael Becker, because we thought to name the most acoustically splendid room in the building had to be somebody who was worthy of that name. I found that I needed to go back to that room during every performance once or twice just to make sure that my voice was still there, even though I couldn't hear it on the stage. One of the triumphs, I think, and I think the Carmel Bach Festival had a lot to do with this, one of the triumphs is the construction of the new concert hall in Carmel, the new Sunset Center, which is as far toward the wonderful side as the old hall was toward the old side. It's important to remember, all of us musicians, that we were performing for many years in a school auditorium, and the architect had been instructed in writing to create a room that would muffle the sound of the children's voices during the assemblies. And for decades and decades, that was our concert hall. And I think it's a testament to the tenacity of the musicians on the peninsula who had to perform in that room that they could still do it. There was a wonderful story of Christopher Plummer, who came in to do a one-man show. This was probably in the 70s, 80s perhaps. And they said, well, now we'll need to put a microphone on. He said, I don't need a microphone, I'm Christopher Plummer. He got on stage with the lectern and realized that it probably would have been a really good idea to put a microphone on. And he wrote in pen on the lectern that was there for many years, for God's sake, get yourselves a decent auditorium. Well, finally we did. And I like to think that it was part of our historical, what we call historical presenters, the Carmel Bach Festival, Monterey Symphony, Chamber Music Monterey Bay, that we were able to agitate and get a new concert hall in Carmel. And it's been a wonderful treat for us all so far.